Ready? I now call the Iberia Parish Council meeting to order for November 9th, 2022. The current time now is 6 o'clock. We'll have the prayer led by Councilman Olivier and the pledge led by Mr. Leslie Landry. Mr. Olivier?
Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord, as we gather today at this meeting, we ask that you be in our midst. Guide us to do your good work as we focus on the future of Iberia Parish. Today we honor our veterans, worthy men and women who gave their best when they were called upon to serve and protect their country. We pray that you will bless them for their unselfish service in the continual struggle to preserve our freedom, our democracy, our safety, and our country heritage for all. Lord, as we continue our quest for a more perfect union, let us not forget those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for freedom. We ask for your blessing for those families living with this sacrifice. We pray that you will watch over these special people and bless them with your peace. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Veterans, present arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, arms.
Thank you, gentlemen. Just at this time, before we begin to go into public comment, I know we have some veterans in the house. If you can just state your name and the branch of service you're representing.
Leslie Landry, United States Army.
Olita Harrington, United States Air Force, retired.
Ricky Segura, United States Marine Corps, United States Army.
Johnny Hebert, United States Army, National Guard.
Jacob Weaver, United States Air Force, United States Army.
Thank you for your service and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I need a good thing, good thing. Okay. Madam Clerk, please initiate the roll call.
Francis Tommy Pollard.
Here.
Michael Landry.
Here.
Marcus Broussard.
Here.
Lloyd Brown. Warren Gotchison.
Here.
Natalie Broussard. Paul Landry. James Trahan. Scott Ronsonet. Eugene Olivier.
Here.
Brian Napier. Lady Fontenette Brown. Scott Saunier. And Chad Mathurin.
We have 11 members in the quorum. I need a motion to go into public comments. I have a motion by Councilman Pollard, second by Councilman Brown. Roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hear no opposition. The ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Number one, Madam Clerk.
Comments from the general public on agenda items.
We did not receive any. Number two, Madam Clerk.
Persons being considered for appointment to parish boards, commissions to address the council.
We do have a request for summary number 182 from Ms. Fran Henderson, who is reapplying for AIDA. Ms. Fran, if you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Fran Henderson. My address is 317 Indes in New Iberia. I'm currently working in New Iberia as a CPA, and I have been serving on the board. I've served in the past commission for quite a while, and then this is my I'm up for renewal. So I ask that you approve that.
Members, at this time, is there any questions for Ms. Henderson? We do have one by Councilman Landry.
It's not a question, but I can tell you I go to AIDA and IDF. Fran is the perfect person for this. She goes above and beyond. She asks the right questions, and Marcus has been coming with me. So, Fran, I'm very happy to see you back on the board, and
Appreciate it.
hopefully my grandchild's up here reappointing you later.
Oh, good. Thank you. Appreciate
Any
it.
other members? Hearing none. Ms. Henderson, thank you for your service to our community.
Thank you.
Next, we also have a request by Mr. Damian Miguez on summary number 183. Again, appointment to AIDA. Mr. Miguez, if you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Damon Miguez, 9409 Old Generate Road, Generate, Louisiana. I am President and CEO of First National Bank of Generate. I currently serve on the Airport Authority Commission as well as AIDA. My term ends in December. I'm looking for renewal.
Members, at this time, is there any questions for Mr. Miguez?
Since Mr. Napier's not here, I'll take it.
I don't think he would have asked the question, Mr. Landry.
He would want the people to know.
Damien's another one over there, and I go, and these agencies are running pretty shorthanded on money and stuff, and they work out a lot of things. Damien and Fran have both been there watching Progress Point go, and it's going to be a big boom for the parish. And I've always told y'all from the beginning, the biggest thing is we watch who we put on these boards, and these are two perfect choices.
Hearing none, no other. Mr. Miguez, thank you for your service to this community. Next, we do have a request by Mr. Cayman Coropel for summary number 184 for Aida. He is applying for the first time.
Cayman Crapel, 112 Watercrest Lane in Delcom. I'm 25 years old, looking to get involved with the community. I believe the IDF and AIDA board is a great thing, great leadership. Progress Point is a really good thing, bringing a lot of jobs to the parish. I think the better IDF and AIDA board does, the better the parish goes. And I'm looking forward to working with the council and working with the board, and hopefully we can keep moving forward.
Mr. Coropel, I'm pretty sure Mr. Landry wants to say something at this time.
I've met him for a while now and everything, and he is the youth that we need to get in this parish. A wealth of knowledge of older people, but young energy is something else, and I think he's going to fit perfect on that board. And we're glad to have you, Cayman.
Thank you.
Mr. Landry, I concur with you on everything you just said on that. I agree completely.
That's not germane.
Thank you for putting yourself out there at such a young age. It's we don't have many that do it, but we appreciate you for doing it.
Thank you.
Members, any? Oh, we do have one more, Mr. Saunier.
Parish. So, look, again, I'll echo what they said. We do need more youth. We need people to get involved at an earlier age so they understand the way that government actually works. I think that what you're doing right now is a step in the right direction, and we can appreciate your presence.
Thank you.
Hearing none, no other requests, Mr. Coropel, thank you for your service to our community. I need a motion to go back into regular session. Have a motion by Councilman Pollard, second by Councilwoman Bruce, or roll call members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Let the record reflect that Councilwoman Brown is in attendance. Moving on to community events and public service announcements, there is none. Reports from finance or administrative actions. Number 1, Madam Clerk.
Balance sheets for September 2022 on request emailed to the council.
Number 2, Madam Clerk.
Budget reports for September 2022 on request emailed to the council.
Moving on to reports from parish or other governmental agencies. Number 1, Madam Clerk.
Iberia Parish County Agent Blair Abear to address the council to present their office's annual report.
Mr. Abear, if you can just state your name and title for the record, sir.
Blair Abear, I'm the county agent with the LSU Ag Center for Iberia Parish and also serve as the parish chair. I think in Iberia Parish government terms, Mr. Shane, Mr. Scott, that might make me a department head, but that's not how the LSU Ag Center titles it, but I think would be the equivalent. But again, good evening, Mr. Chairman, those from parish government. I was trying to do the math. Moved here in December of 1997, so I guess next month will be 25 years I've been here. I don't know if I've been coming to do these reports for 25 years. I think this is my 23rd time, and I've kind of asked us to be brief. So we decided to do this year is kind of split our presentation in 2. So we'll do one here in the fall and then one in the spring. Mr. Pollard, I think, made that suggestion to me. So again, we're really appreciative to be here. I'll kind of bring up where we are with sugarcane kind of towards the end of our presentation. I have 2 co-workers here today. We're going to focus on what we call family and consumer sciences tonight. For those of you who are a little bit older than Mr. Coropel, like myself, we remember that as home economics. And we're also going to focus a little bit on aquaculture. I think sugarcane gets, and dutifully right, it gets a lot of attention. We have a lot of good things going on with aquaculture. So with me today from our Iberia Research Station, he's been here for longer than me. He's our fisheries agent, does a lot of work with our fisheries folks. And I'm going to bring up this time, if we could, Mr. Thomas Email.
Thank you, Blair. Good evening, everybody. Good to be here again.
If you could just state your name and title.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Thomas Email.
Thank you.
and I live in Iberia Parish. I work with the seafood industry across the state in Iberia Parish, along the entire coast from Cameron to St. Bernard, and also up into Simmsport, Marksville, and the freshwater and the saltwater seafood world. We do a bunch of different trainings through the year, but I'm the director of our brand new seafood processing and demonstration lab. I put a flyer on each of yours there. So it talks about, this is at the Iberia Research Station, a new facility. We had our first field day there today, and our focus with this facility is to teach people how to process and do value-added seafood. So this is a brand new initiative of ours at the facility. We have an old laboratory there that we rehabbed, and we had about 40 people from across the state and from Mississippi that came today to learn about the opportunities that are out there in the seafood world. So new for us, new for the parish. I've been here since 1985, so I think this is year 38. So I love it, love living here, and I love to see the progress.
Thank you, Mr. Tom. And again, a lot of people are familiar with the Iberia Research Station in Jeanerette. Think about the cattle we have there. Think about all the sugar research we do. But what Tom's doing there, and he turned some old stuff into some brand new stuff, and we're very excited, and I think it's going to have a big benefit for the people of Iberia Parish, and we appreciate your support. Also, we'd like to bring up our FCS agent who works Iberia and Vermilion, and she's also the Southwest Regional FCS coordinator. She covers everything from the Texas line, along I-10 to Port Allen, and then down to home of Terrebonne. So she covers 14 parishes, and that's Miss Mandy Armentar.
Mandy Armentar, nutrition agent and also FCS regional coordinator for the Southwest region. Even though Blair told you that I have a pretty big territory, still my focus in nutrition programming is primarily in Vermilion and Iberia parishes. And so just to kind of give you a little synopsis of what we've been up to, our programming has completely resumed to what we were before COVID. So we're back doing in-person classes. We can do virtual too, because we have learned that through COVID, people do enjoy virtual. We are continuing our strong partnership with the Iberia Parish Library System to provide those programs for both youth, adults, their caregivers, and then all ages in between. So if you go into the libraries, a couple of the branches, you're gonna see something new that we're launching, and it's called A Taste of Herbs and Spices, because we have found that people go to the grocery store, they buy these herbs and spices, they don't know what to do with them, or you get a gift and you don't know what to do with it. So we're going to teach them how to cook with it. We're going to give them that nutrition information. So that is one of our feature programs, and it's a way to get some more traction. And I know the library's got big ideas, so we're going to probably do some programs for 2023. We also have my coworker, Hannah Bertrand. She is primarily doing the work into the schools. So she's going into our schools, she's teaching our young people nutrition, healthy eating, physical activity. And right now, she's completed a series at Caneview Elementary. She's got Coteau and John Hopkins Elementary that she's going to right now. She'll finish those classes at right before the Christmas break. And then on deck for January is Center Street Elementary, and we're in talks with one other school. I don't want to say names because I don't want to spoil it if we can't get into it. And we're going to hope to continue doing that. And then in the summer, before we even blink in March, we're going to start planning for our summer activities where we go to the summer camps that are throughout the parish, and we try to present some nutrition programs. So we are back to normal, and we're enjoying it, and we're enjoying working with the people of the parish. So I will turn it back over to Mr. Blair, and he's going to wrap it up for us.
Thank you, Miss Mandy. Our 4-H agents are actually conducting a meeting next door at the office, and they leave to go to 4-H camp tomorrow or next week for a few days, what we call challenge camp. So we'll come back in the spring with our 4-H agents, but wanted to let you know that we just hired a new 4-H agent September 15th. She's from Lafayette, but her mom grew up here. She's a graduate of New Iberia Senior High, I think in the late 70s or early 80s. Also, didn't want to leave out without talking a little bit about sugarcane. To let you know that in Louisiana, the sugar industry is the equivalent to 19,000 jobs. we produce in Louisiana 20% of the domestic sugar supply for the United States, and it's a $4 billion imprint that sugarcane leaves on the state's economy. Here in Iberia Parish, it's over 100 million. This year we have a big crop. That's somewhat due to it's a good crop, and also we have more acres. We about 42% as of today of where we are. And just to let you know, I wish I could tell you we're still the largest sugarcane producing parish. We lost out to actually Point Capee. They converted a lot of soybean land and cotton land into sugarcane, and we didn't have anything to convert. We already had all our eggs in the sugarcane basket. So they passed us up, but we still process the most. There's 11 mills in the state, and half of them are on the Teche. And as the acreage is growing to the west and the north, it still has to be processed here. I want to let you, and we have the biggest mill in the state, right off of Highway 90. They process in a 24-hour period when they're wide open, and they're not quite there yet. They're doing about 750 trucks in a 18-wheelers in a day, or 24-hour period. When things are rolling right and they expect to be there in about 2 weeks, they're going to do 1,000 trucks in a 24-hour period. And to let y'all know that one 18-wheeler, when you see an 18-wheeler pass in front of you on 14 or 90 or any of the back roads in Delcom or Lowerville or Jeanerette, that truck has a economic imprint or impact of $7,500. So when those trucks are coming here, where Iberia kind of surpasses other parishes, is we just don't produce it, we process it because we have the milling capacity. So wanted to mention that to you as well. And in closing, I want to let you know that this year in Iberia Parish alone, we certified over 200 people that are now have their private pesticide card. That's one of the stipulations that you need to be able to put restricted chemicals out. We just did a class this past Monday night. I know it was opposite of the Saints, but from when I got home, it looked like I missed much. And then we're going to do a burn certification meeting right here in New Iberia this Monday coming up on the 14th. So if any of y'all interested, again, if you're going to do a controlled burn, it's probably the two biggest issues we get with agriculture right now. It's pesticide drift and when we burn, and we're doing our best to get our folks who do that trained and do it the proper way. But again, we cannot do any of the programs we talked about without your continued support. And I know that y'all in the midst of wrapping up budgets, and we appreciate all the support. We all are glad here, happy to be here. And Mandy was mentioning that we coming back from COVID. It's the services. We feel the people want our services. Our biggest issue is probably keeping people. If you minus the three of us here, we have a secretary with less than 6 months, FCS assistant with less than 6 months, and a 4-H agent with less than 3 months. It's just hard to keep people. And if y'all in the real, in y'all regular jobs, y'all know exactly what we're talking about, and we're experiencing the same thing with the Ag Center. But we're going to keep on keeping on, and we appreciate the support, and thank y'all once again. Mr. Gotcha, hopefully that was short enough.
It was. Is there any questions, members, at this time for Ms. Dabear? Mr. Councilman Pollard on the question?
You said there's a seafood processing plant. Process for the training. Where y'all located
We're
at?
at the Iberia Research Station, the experimental farm between here and Jeanerette.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Councilman Pollard yields back. Anyone else, members? Councilman Saunier on the question?
So I think that often we don't recognize the importance of what you guys do. We think of 4-H and things like that just about kids, but I can tell you for a fact that I work very closely with Thomas, who stands there humbly acting like he doesn't do a whole lot. But if you go to Delcom on the first Saturday of a month to the farmers market and see what goes on there, that guy was in the brain trust that put that together, and I think he was primarily responsible for the seafood activity that takes place in that town now as it relates to bringing seafood from a boat to the consumer directly. I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you guys do for this community and for the region and for the state. How far, we went to Washington DC, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we told our story all over the country, and they came here to hear it, and it's made not only an impact for Iberia Parish, but it's changed some communities along the coast. So great work. Appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you.
Mr. Sonia, if you can get with us to schedule that shrimp fry, that would be nice. If
I'm
we
on a
can get
diet,
date.
Warren. Yeah.
Grilled shrimp, Warren.
That's grilled shrimp. You're right. You're right. Thank y'all very much. I can't say what Scott said enough. We appreciate all y'all do. Number 2, Madam Clerk.
Monthly permit report for the month of October 2022 in packets to the council.
Moving on to Public Works reports. Number 1, Madam Clerk.
Public Works Department report for closed work orders dated October 12th through 25th, 2022, email to the council.
Special business, there is none. Council member announcements. Members? Anyone? Hearing none. Parish President announcements. Before Bo starts, I just want the public to be aware that Mr. Richard is in a pretty important meeting tonight with probably a future business that's coming to town. So he sends his apologies for him not being here, which I'm pretty sure you're going to see in your reports tonight. But I just felt that the public and the council members should know that why Mr. Richard isn't here. Mr. Belanger? Is he on?
Yeah, no, you won't.
Okay, thanks. Kimberly Segura, Director of Finance, reports that the parish royalty for the third quarter in the amount of $156,174.76 was collected. The total collected for the year thus far is $290,718.21. On behalf of President Richard, himself a veteran, having served with the U.S. Army 101st Airborne Division, I would like to read the following proclamation. Whereas the residents of Iberia Parish have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for all of the men and women who have selflessly served our country and this community in the armed forces, and whereas the contributions and sacrifices of the men and women who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and way of life enjoyed by our citizens, and whereas Iberia Parish seeks to honor these individuals who have paid the high price for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all, and whereas these active military service members transitioning from military service are at a high risk for suicide during their first year after military service, and whereas Iberia Parish appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel and believes special recognition should be granted, therefore, whereas observance of Operation Greenlight, Iberia Parish encourages its citizens in patriotic tradition to recognize the importance of honoring all those who made the immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying a green light in a window of their place of business or residence. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, M. Larry Richard, Parish President of Iberia Parish, do hereby proclaim November 7th through November 13th, 2022 as Operation Greenlight, and is a time to salute and honor the services and sacrifices of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service. In witness thereof, I have set my hand in the seal of Iberia Parish, Louisiana, to be affixed on this 9th day of November in the year of our Lord, 2022. Signed, M. Larry Richard, Iberia Parish President. I'd now like to call up veterans. Please come forward for a picture. This proclamation, by the way, will be framed and displayed in the 4th floor lobby of the courthouse.
I think Cindy is. You too.
You gotta put her in front. There you go.
I did already.
There we go.
I did already. This is twice. No, I,
You good? All right, thank y'all so much.
oh, that doesn't conclude your, that does. Okay, members, moving on to, consent agenda items for public hearing and adoption. The minutes for regular meeting of October 26, 2022. I'll need a motion. A motion by Councilman Pollard, second by Councilman Landry, Michael Landry. Councilman Pollard on discussion?
Wave.
Councilman Landry?
Wave.
Any discussion on the main motion, members? Hearing none, roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hear no opposition. The ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to ordinances introduced for public hearing and adoption. There is none. Moving on to resolutions introduced for public hearing and adoption. Summary number 182, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
A resolution appointing one member to the Iberia Parish Economic Development Authority Board representing Iberia Parish Council Districts 1 through 7 for a 3-year term to fill a vacancy created by the expiration of term for Ms. Fran Henderson, whose term expires on December 31st, 2022. Applications of interest on file from Ms. Fran Henderson.
I have a motion by the Paul Landry, second by Councilwoman Broussard. Councilman Landry on discussion.
I do thee wave.
Councilman Landry waves. Councilwoman Broussard. Councilwoman Broussard waves. Any discussion on the main motion, members? Hearing none, roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hear no opposition. The ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Ms. Henderson. Sure. Without objection. All right, at this time, I'd ask the veterans to please stand up and, matter of fact, I will. Bo, if you would like to just explain tonight your proclamation, and then we'll get the veterans. I apologize. Councilwoman Broussard would like for me to explain to the public that there was some technical difficulties due to traffic issues. Thank you. That is why we have missed part of the meeting, but that's okay. We still got the better part still here. Mr. Boulanger, take it from here. You're live.
Tonight, we pass around the red proclamation honoring our veterans and encouraging the citizens of Iberia Parish, to place a green light in the window of their residence or business to honor all of our veterans. We have several veterans in attendance tonight, and would you like to stand up again and
Please.
give your branch of service, please?
Leslie Landry, U.S. Army.
Paulina Arrington, United States Air Force, retired.
Ricky Segura, United States Marine Corps, United States Army.
Levi Collins, United States Marine Corps, 3rd Marine Division.
Calvin R. Arrington, Jr., United States Air Force, 1968, 1991.
Retired. Clarence Barrow, United States Army, 1974, 1977, 1979, 1983. Total 7 years.
Jacob Weaver, United States Air Force, United States Army, Operation Iraqi Freedom.
All right, so now, starting with summary number 183, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
A resolution appointing one member to the Iberia Parish Economic Development Authority Board representing Iberia Parish Council Districts 10 through 12 for a 3-year term to fill a vacancy created by the expiration of term for Mr. Damian Miguez, whose term expires on December 31st, 2022. Applications of interest on file. A, Mr. Damian Miguez.
I have a motion by Councilman Landry, a second by Councilman Olivier. Councilman Landry on discussion?
Wave.
Councilman Olivier on discussion. Any discussion on the main motion, members? Hearing none, roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hear no opposition. The ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Mr. Miguez. Moving on to summary number 184, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
A resolution appointing one member to the Iberia Parish Economic Development Authority Board representing Iberia Parish Council Districts 13 through 14 for a 3-year term to fill a vacancy created by the expiration of term for Mr. Jody Swear, whose term expired on December 31st, 2020. Applications of interest on file for a Mr. Cayman Crapel.
Do I have a motion? Have a motion by Councilwoman Broussard and a second by Councilman Michael Landry. Councilwoman Broussard on discussion. Councilman Landry. Any discussion on the main motion, members? Hearing none, roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hear no opposition. The ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Mr. Crapel. Moving on to summary number 185, introduced by the Clerk of the Council. Madam Clerk.
A resolution authorizing the renewal of a contract for the Record Video Services LLC, DBA Bob Laris.
Close enough, Bob Productions.
Bob Productions for the videoing of council meetings for a 1-year period effective January 1st through December 31st, 2023.
Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Councilman Brown. Second by Councilman Broussard. Councilman Brown, a discussion. Councilman Broussard. Any discussion on the main motion, members? Hearing none, roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 186, introduced by the Clerk of the Council. Madam Clerk.
A resolution authorizing the payment of travel expenses for council members of the Iberia Parish Council to attend the 2023 Police Jury Association Annual Convention to be held in Shreveport, Louisiana from March 8th through the 10th, 2023 at an estimated cost of $961.88 per person, and further amending the 2022 general fund budget to provide funding for said conference expenses.
Do I have a motion? Have a motion by Councilman Olivier. Second by Councilman Michael Landry. Councilman Olivier on discussion.
It has been pretty a tradition, I guess, for some time we'll pay just a registration fee for this Police Jury Association conference in Shreveport next year. Most of us only drive our own way and pay for our own hotel room. So once the discussion is over, I'd like to make a substitute motion to allow for just a registration for those that wants to attend the conference in Shreveport.
I'll hold that substitute motion. You're yielding back your time now?
Yes.
Councilman Olivier yields back. Councilman Michael Landry on discussion. Councilman Landry waives. Anybody else on discussion, members, on the main motion? Hearing none, back to Councilman Eugene, Councilman Olivier on amendment.
I would suggest that we would pay just a registration fee for this conference and amend the 2022 budget to allow for those expenditures. If we can get a head count of those that wants to
You
go to.
want to amend it to how much per person?
$275 per person.
No, he's talking about, he wants to amend just the registration. So I have an amendment on the floor to reduce 961.88 to 275. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that's again taking it from the 2022 general fund?
General fund, correct.
Do I have a second on that amendment? Second by Mr. Landry. Is there any discussion from you, Mr. Eugene, on that the motion to amend?
I would, in order to make the budget amendment, I would suggest we get a show of hands who wants to attend the conference to know what amount we want to amend.
Anybody in particular want to? So we have Councilman Landry, the Landry brothers. I got Councilman Trahan, Councilman Pollard, Councilwoman Brown, and Councilman Eugene. Anyone else? You want to talk? I'm going to come to you 1 second.
How many is that? That was 6.
Councilman Montrain.
That's 1632.
And then you have Mr. Trahan.
Oh.
So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
we have 5 members that is interested.
I thought it was 6.
Oh, we can't forget about Mr. Olivier. His amendment. Okay, so we have 6 members interested, Mr. Olivier.
So that's 1632 for registration.
Correct.
What I calculated. So we'll amend the budget, $1,632
Okay.
for 2022 travel fund.
Did you want to make any statement, or did you want to waive that?
No, I just can't stress how important.
1650?
1650? Okay, make it 1650.
Amendment to amend at 1650. We have the second by Councilman Landry. Mr. Landry on discussion? Mr. Landry waives discussion. Any motion to amend discussion, members? Councilman Saunier on discussion?
I understand that we need to be present at these events. The issue I have with this is that we are amending the current budget to pay for something next year. And there were some comments made in committee. Marcus, you said something that I think is very important. If we can't plan travel for the year, then we shouldn't be doing it. These things keep popping up. There's another one on committee that's gonna come up, that's gonna ask for more money out of the fund. I think that we need to get in the habit of stating during the budgeting process, would we want to attend, how much is going to be, and therefore we'll approve it at that point. I just think that this is inappropriate for us to be doing what we're doing right now, so I can't support this.
Councilman Saunier yields back. Anyone else on the discussion, members of the motion to amend? Councilman Broussard is recognized.
I agree. Scott said what I said last time in committee. I'm the same. It's
You
not
smarter
gonna
than I am,
change.
that's all I said.
It's not gonna change. We know what these things are. We know what they cost. We know them well ahead of time. They're very routine. Let's put that into a budget. Let's pass it once we have to deal with this every other meeting, it seems like. So that's it.
Councilman Broussard yields back. Councilwoman Brown is recognized.
I definitely agree that there should be a budget that's set in place for travel. I do think maybe we should actually increase the travel fund, because right now I think it's what, 3,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it 3,000?
That's what's being proposed for 23, correct?
Right, and then, I mean, I looked at before, I came into office, I think back in 2016, it used to be around 30,000. And I understand that there was a deficit in the budget and everything, and so travel got hit hard, but I think right now we're at a place where the general funding can afford to actually increase the travel budget. I yield.
Councilwoman Brown yields back. Anyone else on discussion, members?
One follow-up.
Yeah, sure.
The only reason why we amending the budget because the registration fees due before the first of the year. So we can't carry it over until next year, unless we want to pay a higher registration fee next year to go to this conference. So I think it's wise for this council to save some money by just amending the budget this year to make that expenditure so we can save a few dollars on registration. Thank you.
Councilman Olivier yields back. Anyone else? I guess I'll go ahead. I'm not against you going. I'm not against anyone going. But again, I agree with Ms. Brown. If we know these conventions are coming and you want to do that, that's the reason why we make these budget proposals. We do have some more amendments coming up in the 2022 when we're discussing 2023, which is a perfect time. So the vote is not against the members going. The vote is against spending or amending the 22 from 23. If you want to go to 23, I'm fine with it. 2022 to me is spent already. I've had that conversation with you about it, but again, I yield back. Councilman Broussard.
The budget is done. It happens in March every year. We can put it into this time next year paying it, but if we put it in the budget, it'll be ready for the next time so we can save the money.
Well, let's be careful when we say that, because
We've already done.
We can still do it, but if the main motion fails, then it would take an act of Congress to bring it back, because we have a rule that if something fails, it can't come back. So, Councilman Broussard yields back. Anyone else?
Yeah, just a follow-up. This will be just a one-time fix for this one conference. I think I have an ultimatum for the next agenda item on committee that we can talk about. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else before we make the motion? All right, so the motion's been made and to amend to $275 per person for 5 members, 6 members, I'm sorry. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Those nays. So we have opposed, Councilman Broussard, Councilman Goshenson, Councilwoman Broussard, Councilman Saunier.
4.
So we have four nays, and that would be 7 yeas, correct? We have 12 members? Oh, Lady Brown. Okay, I'm sorry. That's 8 members for 8 members in favor and 4 against. That motion carries. Now I need a motion. I need to go back to the motion and pass it again. Now again, we amended and going back to the main motion. Roll call. That's because we passed. We made an amendment. Now we've taken the amendment, going back to the main motion. Now we have to pass the main motion that's been amended. That we haven't done it right for so many years, but that's the rules. Well, it's no move needed. We've already made the amendment. We've got our motion and second. Roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All the same. So that's 8 in favor and 4 opposed. That motion carries. Just to remind the general public that our next meeting is November 16th. Look forward to seeing you then. I'll need a motion to adjourn. A motion by Councilwoman Broussard and a second by, unless you want to do it, Councilman Broussard. Roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it. The motion carries unanimously. We're now adjourned.